All right, let me get these names up on here. All right, cool. How's it going?
That's good. I'm healthy. My parents are healthy. That's all that matters.
Man, look at this guy. Understanding on what's important in life. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
No, all right. First off, thank you guys for doing the set. It's always like first to tens aren't like a thing that like many people do. So it's like when I ask people to do like first to tens, it's like I feel like I'm asking a lot from them, but you guys are very nice and like didn't say anything and we're like excited for it and we're very easy to work with. So thank you guys. That was a lot of fun.
I mean,
Yeah, that was a good time.
Thanks for the opportunity. I mean, I don't really get to play on stream that much.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, other people were asking like why I pick players, and it's like I largely pick players because when I look at you guys play, I can see what you guys are envisioning in your playstyles, or I can see what you guys want out of your characters, and like that's the part that's the most interesting. Sorry, I had to change the song. Otherwise, we're listening to a network lobby song the entire time.
You change it to the one from Uniel because that one's really good.
Do they have that on here?
Yeah. I think it's like if you have the Landreka DLC, it's close to the end with the opening.
ST opening theme?
No. What was it called? I don't remember what it was called exactly.
I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, Squirt loves my icon. Okay, so real quick, I wanted to say this. About my icon is literally almost 1 year ago. All my friends started putting masks on their avatars and yelling at people who didn't. So I was like, I'll take this off as soon as it all ends.
That's understandable. That's a pretty cool way to go about it.
It's been a year.
It's been a year.
with this still on.
It's been a year. All right, wonderful. All right, so I'm just gonna ask you guys like random questions. You guys can totally answer them however you want. So first off, just like we'll start with Spear and then Vyspiero. You guys introduce yourselves. Give me an intro, like your name, what game you play outside of Undernight, and your favorite Undernight track, or one that you really, really like.
Okay. Well, I'm ShiningSpear. Outside of Undernight, I play mostly RPGs, but like as fighting games go, I play a little bit of Guilty Gear. And favorite Undernight track is kind of hard to pick. They're all great. But I think Gordo's has got to be my favorite. Crushing Heart.
That's
Wonderful. Fantastic.
Not a lot of people pick Gordo's track.
Where's Fox? Fox and I have gotten in an argument on whether Gordo's track is very good, and I think that it's amazing. So,
well, I was on mute then. It's alright. So
no, you're good. How's it going, Star?
I'm good. How's everybody feeling?
We're good.
All right,
Pretty good.
I'll ask you, Star, in a second. Spyro, hit me with the game that you play outside of Undernight and your favorite Undernight track.
Yeah, so I'm Vyspiero from Chicago, represent. The games that I play outside of Undernight, I really like to play roguelikes.
Hell
the
yeah.
most recent ones is Slay the Spire. That game
Yeah?
is perfect. It's like closest to perfect you can get in any video game.
A lot of people really like that game. It looks super good. I'm a big roguelike fan, so I shouldn't.
If you're a card game or roguelike enthusiast, like either one or both,
Yeah.
both is better. But definitely pick it up. It is the biggest bang for your buck possible.
Yeah, I agree.
And
Excellent
speaking
game.
of bangers, my favorite. Okay, so biased. My favorite track is Altnum's because I'm an Altnum player. But
It's very
unbiased,
good.
it might have to be Byakuya's.
You know what makes me really mad is that Byakuya as a character does not deserve that theme.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
Yeah, bro.
He just doesn't deserve that theme. Like, Byakuya and Byakuya players both don't deserve that theme, but they both got it, and that makes me really upset because it's so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the TOD themes, the fire against death theme. You love it.
Ugh.
It really fits his character super well, though. The thing.
But he doesn't deserve it. That's the thing.
And themes that good have to be earned.
Yeah, you have to earn it somehow.
Gotta earn
Like,
that bread.
like Enkidu has a sick theme, but he earned the theme because he is also sick.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Another underrated one, actually.
Star, same thing. Hit me with the game that you play outside of fighting games, and your favorite Under Night track, or one that you just really like.
Okay, a game, like any game outside of it?
Sure,
Like, it
yeah.
doesn't have to be my favorite anything.
Yeah,
Alright, I'm playing I'm really into the Trail series, like the Trails of the Sky series.
Oh,
Like,
really?
RPG.
Yeah.
I've been like crazy like on that shit ever since COVID started. So like I'm currently up to Cold Steel 4, which is the one that's getting ported to Steam come April 9th, and I'm copping that one immediately. The story, the soundtrack, gameplay, I just fall in love with that shit. I just eat it up.
That's
So, yeah.
great.
Yeah.
No, I always like to ask people questions like that because I feel like when people, like, especially us for fighting games, I think everybody who looks at fighting game players think we all crack out on fighting games, like, no matter what. And some of us do, but I think, like, the unique...
You need to be brave, right?
Yeah, like, I think, like, the unique, like, mind of a fighting game player just, like, lends us to, like, play other things, too, because that, like, thought process of breaking stuff down just comes so handy in, like, other genres as well. Like, I can tell you for sure that, like, as somebody who grew up playing shooters a lot when he was a kid, that, like, playing fighting games definitely made me a better FPS player. Like, 100%.
Yeah, playing fighting games made me a better MOBA player because I stopped playing League of Legends.
That's a based answer.
Oh, man. I wanna say things, but I won't. Anyway, I'm a Dota player, so it's but I think all MOBAs are bad, so.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me at post-game chat. Like I said, you guys don't have to do this. This is something I just like doing because it's fun to talk to players and get their thought processes on things. So, let me first ask, like, Spear and Vyspiero, how you guys felt about it. I guess I asked both of you guys at the same time. Spear, go first.
Sure. Well, obviously that was not my cleanest play ever. So, like, I don't know. It was a little rough. By the end of that, when I switched to Landrekia, I was just like, I'm not making anything happen with Aurea anyway. Might as well play the character that, like, nobody ever sees, just to, put something out there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. Just shut brain off, thrust in neutral. That's about where I was at.
Yeah.
I fuck with it.
Yeah. So we actually, I hopped on ranked and I was like, I'm just gonna play the first person I see just to warm up. And the first person I saw was ShiningSpear.
That's
so. And so he actually won the ranked set 2-1, so I lost Rip, but he I lost Rip, and that's really all that matters. But
my elo, bro.
So if you count, I mean, I guess at the end of it, we I think I got 8 wins and switched to Enkidu, so we technically played. I don't really know, but yeah, it's like in that matchup. I think if we didn't play that, the first few games would have looked different, because in those 2 games, I think I started to dissect what he was going for. Like with his thrusts in neutral, I started to understand like what he was doing with his block string pressure. He blocked all my DPs. Like I still didn't fully download him because he blocked all my DPs.
Right.
Still, he teched a lot of my throws because I wasn't really trying. I was worried more about mashing than going for a TRM because Spear really liked the and for good reason. They're really good buttons, 2B and 2A.
Right.
Just to mash out of pressure rather than, but it's like I was just guessing wrong and like running into 1ADs, getting throw teched, and I was starting to throw in some TRMs, but it's like I had his number in some points, and in other points I still didn't. But there was a point like 2 games in where I was like, I could 10. I feel like I could 10-0, but it's not that fun.
Talk to him.
Yeah. I mean, that's just how I felt. Like, I'm not judging him as a player. It's just like you get that feeling as a fighting game player where you understand your opponent,
right?
And you're going for so long that you're worried about adaptations. But as it goes on, game by game, you start to, you know, it's like you're always a step ahead at that point.
Adaptations.
Yeah, right. And I think like for at least Under Night specifically, that's why I like doing first to 10s. It's such a game that's based off of like multiple game states and scenarios that happen pretty routinely, that a first to 10 creates a situation in which decision making goes for a really long, like it goes for like a long while. Like your decision in the first 3 games definitely matters because it'll have implications on your decision for like the last 3 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know, as I think I'm an intermediate player, I still fall into like these traps where I'm like doing the same options over and over.
Right.
Like I'll forget that. Just as an example, like maybe I'll forget about TRM up until maybe 7 games later. I think about TRM and then I do it and it doesn't work and I never do it again, something like that. And that's why, like, you know, people on ranked, even it's like they're just cooked. Like they play for so long, they need to just do their flowchart.
Right.
Because like a first to 10 is like a really big thing, but like playing online on ranked all day, I could really admire people who do that.
Yeah, that's definitely, I can't do that either. I'm like maybe
Same.
like 2 hours max of my any fighting game unranked and my brain's fried.
After like the first 2 people I fight, I'm just like exhausted.
Yeah, I feel it. Okay, so let me ask Spear. So it felt like for the most part you did have like, you had control of the neutral a lot of the time, but it felt like for the most part you didn't get your value out of your cycles. Like how do I put this? Like I feel like that you did win cycle fairly often, but I feel like it didn't convert to as much as you wanted to, and I wanted to ask why you thought that is.
I mean, a lot of that is just purely poor execution on my part.
Okay.
You know, I'd win a cycle, I'd get a hit and like just fail to convert off of it, or just not finish the combo. Yeah, like there was that, and just a lot of bad guessing on defense. You know, a couple of botched option selects here and there.
Right.
You know, so it's like when I'm blocking, like I'm usually fairly ahead in the game, but like once the block string is over and like I have to guess again, it's, I don't know, that like I'm really easily thrown off. That's, I know, kind of one of my weaknesses is I'm very slow to adapt to things.
Sure.
So like, yeah.
Okay. So would you, in your situation, like, would you feel like, or in your own like diagnosis of your playstyle, would you say that like you would prefer more of like a tournament setting? Or that maybe I should say that your playstyle has been more designed for a tournament setting.
I think,
because we mostly play first to 2s, first to 3s. Even online is a first to 2, right?
Right. That, yeah, I think that's probably fair to say. Probably a very generous way of saying that my playstyle is really gimmicky, and as soon as somebody figures out what I'm doing, then like yeah, it's I mean you saw that obviously.
I mean, it's there's nothing to say about that other than like yeah, it works not as strongly in a first to 10. But like, you know, considering that most games are done in a first to 2 format, like that sort of play style is completely valid. Like, I mean, look at Third Strike Makoto players made a killing off that. Like it's just like, or, you know, like what would Mika players do in a first to 10? Like that character drops off quite a bit, you know?
Sure.
I kind of, but she actually like one of the misconceptions is that she's all gimmicks, but she actually has amazing strike throw,
Right.
and amazing like you can't really green shield against her, so she can steal more cycles a lot of the times, or force you to do more stuff.
Right.
It's a pretty interesting character.
No, and
although I do agree, she does lose a lot in the first attempt.
yeah, I don't mean to say that the character goes into the dirt. I more say that like in terms of in a longer set, like when you're relying on stuff like, you know, putting people into like stray 50-50 mix-ups, that it becomes less valuable as you're going along.
A little streamlined,
Yeah. Okay, I don't want to keep you guys here any longer than I have to, and so I'll just say that like I want to talk to Star for a little bit. I wanted to ask you how you felt about like that mid-range. It doesn't matter what character you played, because you played like I'd say like 3 characters that are pretty decent in like that mid-range, and then like 1 character that's really bad at it. But for the most part, like Hyde's like an extremely strong character in the mid-range. I would say that's like one of his strongest strengths. Is that a character that has just an absurd amount of tools that control angles against people's approach. So like when you look at a character like Hyde, how do you approach that mid-range versus him? A character that has like so many big like hitbox options to cover those areas.
I usually wait when it comes to Hyde players and Hyde in general. I realize that, you know, if I get touched by anything from this character, I'm gonna fucking explode. So I'm just gonna sit there and wait until they tire themselves out, and then I strike. Because most of the times, Hyde will just pretty much just kill themselves. If it's not plus frames and you block them out, like, oh well, that didn't work, and then I just smash a button and then it works. So that works out pretty well.
Okay. Would that explain just as like sort of how I saw you play your Gordeau, which is your main?
Yeah.
You played like a really like space control first sort of style where you used a lot of your chain shifts really early in the cycle in order to just like keep his butt like put for a second. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you a lot of like cycle finishes up immediately Grim Reaper CS.
Right, and I think that's part of the reason for that. It's a good way to smother your opponent, and get in that mid range, and you know, run your game plan and shit like that. But that's partly you sort of have to keep Hyde in check. You don't ever like it's more uncommon. Like I actually like to prefer to like keep the cycle on hand like as long as possible.
Right.
But I really don't want to be in a situation where like I end up not doing anything in my string, and then he hits me, and then as you saw, like Square hit me with like a mid-screen Vorpal strip, or it's gonna corner carry me, and then this resource is pretty much worthless. So I get it, I go, and then I run my shit. So I keep it like that most of the time.
Yeah.
Depending on who I'm fighting.
No, that's sort of why I was talking about it, because normally like Gordeau's ability to like win a lot of grid blocks at a time using assimilations means that like range plus a bunch of grid blocks, you can like lord it over your opponent to a certain degree, right? And use it to make them make mistakes. But like to watch you almost spend it immediately, like every single time, it was one thing that I really like caught on to immediately.
Another thing about that is that generally the better thing is to do is to hold onto the cycle as long as possible, but I really didn't feel like I had to during this set in a sense. So I just like, you know, I'm not getting checked for it, so I'm just gonna keep burning it until he kills me for it.
Do you feel like Hyde gives up that ability if he's not playing patiently?
Mostly yes, because a lot of his moves are like either multi-hitting or very easy to shield.
Yeah.
If you look at the strength, so it's just like, oh, here comes 2-2 B or whatever, or 6B, which is 2 hits, boom, boom. I got 2 grid blocks. So like he sort of just bleeds grid the more he pressures you.
Right.
So I just use that to my advantage. It's like, wow, I got the cycle now. Thanks. Die. Yeah.
That makes sense, because like I think my initial worry when I play against Hyde at like a high level would be that the stagger pressure is frightening, right? Because I feel like at any point you're sitting and you're getting staggered pressure, and he's just waiting to like counter hit 6B into like all of your life. But there's also that like other aspect where it's like Hyde players kind of want to get as much chip in as they can, because they technically don't have a mix up outside of stagger strike throw. So when it's definitely like a different approach when you do that with Gordeau, who gets to put like a big 3/4 screen hitbox into chain shift. But like, how do you like translate that style to like Wagner?
From mid-range into using CS,
Yeah.
Generally, CS is just like, to me, it's more like an extend pressure tool when I play Wagner. It's just like, I get in, I stay in, I burn it, I run my shit again. Eventually, you crack and then you die. So it's pretty much the same, but a lot more potent, a lot more, very, very much more aggressive.
Okay. So it's more of like, instead of keeping their butt on the ground for a second longer at half screen, it's more like doing that, but like straight up in their face.
Right in their face, and then if I don't burn it in the string, if I feel like they're gonna try and like take their turn back, like, oh, they shielded something and they're gonna check me for it, I keep it, and then I immediately just like use it to take my turn back with like defensive guard thrust or CSDP, you know what I mean? But things like that, just one-on-ones.
Right. That's interesting. Do you play? I know, like, from when I watch you play tournaments at like low kick and stuff, I mostly watch you play Gordeau. How much Wagner do you play, or is it just like a funsies character for you?
I've been playing Wagner's like a lot of people. I've actually been playing Wagner since like I would say 2019 ST.
Okay.
Like right before I started going to tournaments, but I was never like really that great with her. And a lot of people are always telling me like, man, I know you're having your struggles with Gord, you could just switch, and I'm just like, I could, or I could play both.
You can't.
but I can't.
You can't. Like, this is a game where if you're hooked on a character, you can't switch.
Like every time I say I'm going to main X character, it's like, no, as soon as I sunk my teeth into Gord, it was over from the beginning.
Well, that's good for us, because I really like how you play the character, so that makes me happy.
Thank you.
And also, you know, Gordeau's sick, so, you know, like, at the end of the day, like, that's fine, because this is such a cool character. That's that's like the problem, right? Like, I don't like playing against Gordeau or Gordeau players, but Gordeau is sick.
Same. I share that same. and I main the character. I hate every single one of the people in the Gordeau channel. He's just the whole, like, he's cool as fuck, don't get me wrong, but this character's a fucking hooligan. He like literally reaches in your pocket and steals your shit.
It's like, it's so funny, because like that character, although like is probably supposed to be played more of like a sort of defense to offense style, ends up just being a character where a bunch of different Gordeau players have different pet moves that they found to be their favorite, and like just use that to its best ability. Like, there's the 3C Gordeau players, there's the Grim,
yeah, a sim spammer, that's me. You got overhead spammer, also me. Backdash boy, shout out to Ghostface.
Yeah.
I am Rido. Yeah. Shit. Yeah. Everyone just plays a little different.
Yeah, they just have that move that's like theirs, right?
Like, this is me. This is what I do.
Yeah. It's pretty, like, I don't say that every other character doesn't have something like that to a degree, but I think the range is larger for Gordeau players.
Right. He's
Yeah.
very versatile.
Yeah, it's pretty darn cool. All right. Like I said, I'm not keeping you guys any longer than I have to. Thank you guys. I love doing the talk afterwards because I don't even get to talk to players like at tournaments.
Yeah.
You know?
Honestly, every time you apologize for it, I really want to tell you don't, because I could talk for an hour.
No, this
Like,
is
I could
cool.
talk,
Yeah.
like, I have a lot of stuff to say about the game that I usually I'm not able to. I think a lot about the game.
I think that's just being an Under Night player, honestly. This
Yeah.
game makes you think.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't want to think.
Picked a poor game
It's too
for it.
much work.
It
Yeah.
really is. You picked a poor game to do it. More games, like, you always see that bell curve where it's like lower level players don't think and like mid players think like too much and like
Yeah.
higher
Yeah.
players don't think, and like
Yeah,
that's
I
not
feel
true
like
for that's not true for Under Night.
I don't know. I feel like it is.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
dude,
I
I-
still feel like it is too. Yeah.
Really? Because
once you get to the higher level, like the highest level, like you really get to that point. It's like, there's no way. I'm plus 20 something. There's no way they'll mash the way I made it counter hit. What the fuck? And then you just lose. And it's like, wow, we're back to square one.
I just
So-
feel like that they've just internalized all of it.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Right.
like the reason why the bell curve seems like it returns back to the point of I'm mashing lol is because a lot of things are internalized, and most of it is instinct. I think there's just like a lot of resources that mention mastery and stuff, and like I know the Core Gaming video talks about that a lot.
Yeah. No, that stuff's I feel like that's why like Under Night players end up getting reps in. Like I always feel like when we're at tournaments, like Under Night players are always playing like an absurd amount of games outside a tournament. Just because
Yeah.
like that level of familiarity, because the game asks you to think about two things at once most of the time, that like almost everything else needs to be like on the dot, right? Like it just needs to be brought up on the top of your brain immediately. You can't spend too much time thinking about it because the next thing will have already happened by then. So by that time,
Yeah.
you have to like internally have consumed so much matches that your brain just does the work without you thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, a lot of it is managing fatigue, decision-making fatigue, especially, and just having a good mental state, because that being tilted immediately makes your decision-making like 100 to
Really
0.
poor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the players that I want to mention are like Red Blade, Big Black, and Isaac. They're like 3 players who just do what they want, and it doesn't seem like it seems like it's natural for them. Like so you're trying to think of like patterns and stuff, and nobody's random, but they seem. I think Isaac is the closest thing to a dice as humanly possible. he's the closest thing possible to a dice.
It's
a human can
very refined.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Red Blade, like when I watch Red Blade, I feel like I watch somebody who's like decided he wants to play like the anti-spiral, where he's just like wants to demoralize you as much as humanly possible.
Yeah, and he has such like confidence and brevity in his play that it just puts like a toll on you immediately.
Yeah, because you just watch, you feel like you finally won something out of him, and then when you do, it doesn't feel like he comes back like it never happened.
Yeah, 1 step forward, 2 step back
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. All right. Cool. And then I started talking again. I'm just gonna start ending the stream because I'll talk forever. Thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it. There's only so many Under Night players in the world, so I hope we can have you guys back, because I want to do more like 2 at a times, because watching me play sucks. Watching you guys play, awesome. So I want to do more like 2 at a time tournaments, and then we'll hopefully get you guys on again, because that was a lot of fun. All right, I'll let you guys go. I'm gonna mute you guys, so say your goodbyes. Thank you guys for joining me, and hope you guys have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Ooh, thank you.
Bye, stream. I wish.
All right. All those folks are muted. All right, cool. All right. Real quick, I just want to say my own thank you guys for joining me for the stream. That was a lot of fun. Next month again, we're going to have more exhibitions, hopefully set up sooner than later.